Alrighty, so today we're going to start in Genesis 5. We read 1 through 4 yesterday. And now we're going to continue the line of Genesis. In fact, we're going to continue the line from Adam all the way to Noah. Alright, let's start. This is the written account of Adam's family line. When God created mankind, he made them in the likeness of God. He created them male and female and blessed them. And he named them mankind when they were created. Beautiful. God created us in his image, in his likeness. Male and female, and he blessed them. It's pure love right there. Nothing more than we could ask. When Adam, I'll even highlight that. When Adam had lived 130 years, getting up there, he had a son in his own likeness, in his own image, and he named him Seth. After Seth was born, Adam lived 800 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Adam lived a total of 930 years, and then he died. That's a lot of years. When Seth had lived 105 years, he became the father of Enosh. After he became the father of Enosh, Seth lived 807 years, and he had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Seth lived a total of 912 years, and then he died. When Enosh had lived 90 years, he became the father of Kenyan, or something like that. After he became the father of Kenan, Enosh lived 815 years, and he had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Enosh lived a total of 905 years, and then he died. When Kenan had lived 70 years, he became father of Mahalalel. After he became the father of Mahalalel, Kenan lived 840 years, and he had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Kenan lived a total of 910 years, and then he died. Must have been fun saying Mahalalel back then. Wonder what they were doing. When Mahalalel lived 65 years, he became the father of Jared. Oh, here's a regular name. After he became the father of Jared, Mahalalel lived 830 years, and he had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Mahalalel lived a total of 895 years, and then he died. When Jared lived 162 years, he became the father of Enosh, and after he became the father of Enosh, Jared lived 800 years, and he had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Jared lived a total of 962 years, and then he died. When Enosh had lived 65 years, he became the father of Methuselah. Methuselah. There we go. That sounds right. After he became the father of Methuselah, Enosh walked faithfully with God 300 years, and he had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Enoch. I think this is Enoch, not Enosh. Lived a total of 365 years. He lived a whole. Oh, actually, that's a lot of years. Enosh walked faithfully with God, and then he was no more, because God took him away. That's kind of an important piece right here. If you already know this already, God only took a few people away. Only a few people have never died. Or I think it might be only two, which is Enoch, and then Elijah, right? Let's search that up. Enoch and Elijah are the only two who died. Enoch and Elijah are the only two. Yep, exactly. The only two individuals in the Bible who were taken to heaven without experiencing natural death. Enoch walked faithfully with God. Elijah was taken up to heaven in the whirlwind with chariots of fire. Jesus, he did die, but he was sinless, and I don't know. I just always thought that's kind of interesting. Only two people we'll mention in the Bible have ever done that, or God has ever done that to them. Anyways, we'll continue. Thought I'd point that out. When Methuselah had lived 187 years, he became the father of Lamech. Okay, I think we saw that name last time. After he became the father of Lamech, Methuselah lived 782 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Methuselah had lived a total of 969 years, and then he died. Wonder if there's anyone that lived 1,000, because they always just go almost to 1,000, but they die like 900 something. It's interesting. When Lamech had lived 182 years, he had a son. He named him Noah. Okay, here we go. And he said, "He will comfort us in the labor and painful toil of our hands caused by the ground the Lord has cursed." After Noah was born, Lamech had lived 595 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Lamech had lived a total of 777 years, and then he died. After Noah was 500 years old, he became the father of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Something like that. All right, so that chapter 5, just the lineage. A lot of people think it's the boring stuff, but it's good to know. I mean, we know all the way from Adam all the way to Noah. We know the people who came before, and like I said this kind of in the previous study, but it's good to know this stuff just because we can see the lineage of Adam to Noah, Noah to David, and David to Jesus. So, important things that point out, and like I said, so we know that these people aren't just random people popping out of nowhere. All right, so we'll just continue though. Genesis 6, wickedness in the world. When human beings began to increase in number on the earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. Then the Lord said, "My spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years." Their day will be 120 years. So, I think a thing to point out here is when it says the sons of God saw that the daughters, I don't think that means the sons like people, like human beings. This is actually like angels or demons, or I think it's angels, something like that. Anyways, they're God-like beings. They're not capital G God. They're lowercase g beings. But yeah, and I think this is what births Nephilim, because obviously when a human mixes with, something more powerful than that, Nephilim kind of becomes the product of that. And God did not like that. But the Nephilim, or we'll continue, verse 4. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. The Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become on the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart was only evil all the time. The Lord regretted that he had made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. So the Lord said, "I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created, and with them the animals, the birds, and the creatures that move along the ground, for I regret that I have made them." But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Imagine that. Out of all the people on the planet, these people lived to 900 and 700 and so old. There's so many people on this planet. Countless people. We don't know, the earth could have been just so full of people before the flood. And only Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. It's crazy. We'll continue. Noah and the flood. This is the account of Noah and his family. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight, and was full of violence. God saw how corrupt the earth had become, for all the people on the earth had corrupted their ways. So God said to Noah, "I'm going to put an end to all people, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. I'm surely going to destroy both them and the earth. So make yourself an ark of cypress wood, make room in it, and coat it with pitch inside and out. This is how you are to build it." And we're going to get into instructions now. The ark is to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. Make a roof for it leaving below the roof of an opening 1 cubit high all around. Put a door in the side of the ark, and make a lower, middle, and upper deck. I'm going to bring flood waters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens. Every creature that has the breath of life in it, everything on earth will perish. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark, you and your sons and your wives and your sons' wives with you. Or sorry, not wives, wife and your sons' wives with you. You are to bring into the ark two of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you, two of every kind of bird, of every kind of animal, and of every kind of creature that moves along the ground will come to you to be kept alive. You are to take every kind of food that is to be eaten and store it away as food for you and for them. Noah did everything just as God commanded. How faithful was that? And just to, I guess, kind of give some background, I think Noah's around 500, like I said. So Noah's not young. Now, I mean, this may be middle age for them, but still, 500 years old, you don't know what that has to take a toll on you. He's an old guy. And we'll actually let me search up. How big was the ark actually? The ark was big, and he's a one-man team that built this. Standard cubit is 18 inches long. Standard cubit is 18 inches long. The most common. Okay, so 18 times what do we got? 300 cubits. So that's 5,400. Wait, okay, so 450 feet long, 75 feet. Yeah. Anyways, so this is a big boat. This is a big thing. This wasn't just some small project. I mean, this took Noah, because he did this himself. He had no help because everyone else mocked him and scorned him. This probably took him, let's say, 100 years or so. I mean, how dedicated is that? I mean, we live 100 years. So how much focus must someone have to just build a boat for 100 years or whatever, however long he built it? 50 years. Even 10 years, that's long. But yeah, let's continue to Genesis 7. The Lord then said to Noah, "Go into the ark, you and your whole family, because I have found you righteous in this generation." We're going to highlight that. Again, no one else was found righteous except for Noah. It's a lot of people. Take with you 7 pairs of every kind of clean animal, a male and its mate, and 1 pair of every kind of unclean animal, a male and its mate, and also 7 pairs of every kind of bird, male or female, to keep their various kinds alive throughout the earth. So this boat had to be big. I mean, he's taken every animal, probably roaches too, which I hate. I hate roaches. But he took from the flying ones, the crawling ones, the walking, swimming probably, swim around, but crazy. Where am I? Sorry. I lost where I am. Whatever, we'll just read from it. 7 days from now I will send rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and I will wipe from the face of the earth every living creature I have made. 40 is a good number to remember. 40 and the number 7. 2 most common numbers you hear in the Bible. And Noah did all that the Lord commanded him. And that's how faithful Noah is. How many times have we seen this already? This is probably the 3rd time we've seen this mentioned, that Noah did all that the Lord had commanded him. Noah was 600 years. Oh my goodness, yeah. So see, it took him about 100 years or so to build this boat. I think he started when he was like 500. Well, anyways, he's 600 years old when the flood waters came on the earth, and Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives entered the ark to escape the waters of the flood. Pairs of clean and unclean animals, of birds and of all creatures that move along the ground, male and female, came to Noah, entered the ark as God had commanded Noah, and after 70 days the flood water came on the earth. 70 days. I think that's another again, 70s, 40, or 740, big numbers in the Bible. We'll just keep reading. Came down to earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the second month, on that day, all the springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of heaven were opened, and rain fell on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. So, you know how we have like tectonic plates and all that? I like to think this is the part where they separate, where America is placed in place, and where Africa, all the continents split up. I like to think that's where this is where that happens. So, the day the springs of the great deep burst forth. Look at that, great deep burst forth. So now these are the heat, the hot, and spring up, separating the giant island Pangea, whatever you call it, into multiple continents. Anyways, we'll keep going. It's just a little side tangent. But on that very day, Noah and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, together with his wife and the wives of his 3 sons, entered the ark. They had with them every wild animal according to its kind, all livestock according to their kinds, every creature that moved along the ground according to its kind, and every bird according to its kind, everything with wings. So they had everything. They weren't missing an animal. That ship was packed. Pairs of all creatures that have the breath of life in them came to Noah and entered the ark. The animals going to work. Excuse me, it's been a long day. The animals going in were male and female of every living thing, as God had commanded Noah. Then the Lord shut him in. He didn't shut him up, he shut him in. For 40 days the flood kept coming on the earth, and as the waters increased, they lifted the ark high above the earth. The waters rose and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the surface of the water. They rose greatly on the earth, and all the high mountains under the entire heavens were covered. The water rose and covered the mountains to a depth of more than 15 cubits. Pretty deep. Every living thing that moved on the land perished: birds, livestock, wild animal, all the creatures that swarm on the earth, and all mankind. Everything on dry land that had the breath of life in its nostrils died. Every living thing on the face of earth was wiped out: people and animals, and the creatures that move along the ground, and the birds were wiped from the earth. Only Noah was left, and those with him in the ark. The waters flooded the earth for 150 days. Waters flooded the earth for 150 days. Okay, that makes sense, because for 40 days the flood kept coming, but after that, it still was there. It didn't decrease. It slowly decreased. Interesting. So yeah, there's Noah right there. We all probably, or many people know the story of Noah. It's probably the most common story, whether you went to, Bible, Sunday Bible class, or you were a kid, or maybe if you're not a Christian at all, you probably definitely heard that story. But it's an interesting story. God just wiped out all of creation, but they were evil, and God's a just God. He's not evil. Just like a judge punishes a criminal for, killing someone, so does God have to punish those who are evil. But we'll continue in Genesis 8. But God remembered Noah and all the wild animals and the livestock that were with him in the ark, and he sent a wind over to the earth, and the waters receded. That's very important. God remembered Noah. It's not saying that, God forgot him. It's saying that God knew Noah and, all the beasts with him, because God loved him and he remembered him, and he took care of them. He didn't just say, get in the ark and then I'll forget about you for a little bit, and, then, okay, maybe I'll think about lowering the waters, or I'll just give you a little ride on the water. No, he remembered them, and he cares for his children. You'll never see God not love his children. You'll see him punish us, but he still shows love constantly. That's the great thing about God, and you'll find out about that with no other God in any other religion does this. I mean, many gods in other religions, they just taunt us. They punish us for no reason. Oh, they say you didn't eat enough grapes or something. I don't know, something stupid, but or there's a God for everything. But no, there's one God, and he loves his creation. And he was sad to see his creation do this, but he had to do it, punish it, because it was evil. And he saw that there was no way, I mean, I'm not God. I don't know how he sees it, but he saw that their hearts could not be turned. They were as hard as rock. But we'll continue. Now the springs were deep, and the floodgates of the heavens had been closed, and the rain had stopped falling from the sky. The waters receded steadily from the earth, and at the end of the 150 days, the water had gone down. On the 17th day of the 7th month, the ark came to the rest on the mountains of Ararat. Ararat. I don't know, we'll say that. The waters continued to recede until the 10th month, and on the first day of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains became visible. After 40 days, Noah opened a window he had made in the ark and sent out a raven, and it kept flying back and forth until the waters had dried up from the earth. Then he sent out a dove to see if the water had receded from the surface of the ground. But the dove couldn't find nowhere to perch because there was water over all the surface of the earth. So he returned to Noah in the ark. He reached out his hand. When the dove returned to him, He waited. I accidentally skipped a right. Excuse me. He reached out his hand and took the dove and brought it back to himself in the ark. He waited 7 more days and again sent out the dove from the ark. When the dove returned to him in the evening, there in its beak was a freshly plucked olive leaf. That's interesting, I think a dove is a good symbol, that God likes to use. Just like the dove descended upon Jesus. This is kind of like an awakening, or a big moment. Because, they've been on the waters for 150 days being seasick. And now all of a sudden, we finally have proof that there's land. And a dove descends upon his arm to show that. He waited 7 more days and sent the dove out again, but this time it did not return to him. By the first day of the first month of Noah's 601st year, my goodness, this guy's old, the water had dried up from the earth. Noah then removed the covering from the ark and saw that the surface of the ground was dry. By the 27th day of the 2nd month, the earth was completely dry. Excuse me. I know in the first few chapters 1 through 4, I kind of stopped more and talked about it a little more. And this one I'm kind of just powering through it. But there's not much. This is just the story unfolding, and there's a couple points I point out. But these parts I'll probably just kind of read over, and y'all can put your thoughts, in the comments and stuff, and discuss about that. But the story is explaining itself, and I'll just kind of point out some key details like the 40 and the 7 and the dove. Just some things that relate to that you can see. It's pretty interesting to me, at least. But let's continue. Then God said to Noah, "Come out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons and their wives. Bring out every kind of living creature that is with you, the birds, the animals, and all the creatures that move along the ground, so they can multiply on the earth and be fruitful and increase it in number on it." So Noah came out together with his sons and his wives and his sons' wives, all the animals and all the creatures that move along the ground, and all the birds, everything that moves on the land, came out of the ark, one kind after another. Just think about that. You're in this big boat that God asked you to build. You're Noah. You have to take care of your family and your sons' families. On top of that, you have to take care of every animal Like, that's insane, right? Probably more animals than we think of right now. We probably have a dog and it's hard enough to take care of, but Noah for 150 days had to take care of everything. I mean, God probably filled in the gaps, as always, but that's quite a big task. It's a tough task right there. But Noah was faithful, and the Lord was pleased on that. But we'll continue. So Noah came out together with his sons and his wife's sons, all the animals, creatures that move along the ground, all the birds, everything that moves on the land, came out of the ark, one kind after another. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, taking some of all the clean animals and clean birds, he sacrificed burnt offerings on it. The Lord smelled the pleasing aroma and said in his heart, "Never again will I curse the ground because of humans, even though every inclination of the human heart is evil from childhood, and never again will I destroy all living creatures, all as I have done. As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease." The Lord hated that he had to do that to his creation, because he loved his creation, because he created it. He's the father of it. But he has to punish, because he's just. We will never understand what it's fully like to be that just, but he is that just. He's perfect. I think I'll read through this last one. I think I'll lead to this last one. This is kind of what gets even more important. God's covenant with God. I think this is a beautiful part right here. So we'll continue reading, and I'll kind of break it down. Then God blessed Noah and his sons, saying to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number, and fill the earth. The fear and dread of you will fall on all the beasts of the earth, and on all the birds in the sky, and on every creature that moves along the ground, and all the fish in the sea. They are given into your hands. Everything that lives and moves about will be food for you, just as I gave you the green plants. I now give you everything." Look at that. After everything mankind has done, God has all the right to even end Noah. Noah wasn't a perfect guy, but he found favor in God's eyes, and he still gives everything to us. And guess what? God didn't say he saw favor in Noah and his wife and his kids' wives and his kids. No, he only Noah was good among them. Only Noah. Only Noah saw favor. Only God only saw favor in Noah. Am I saying that right? Yeah. So that means his wife and his kids wife did not. But God had Noah bring them because he loved them. But you must not eat meat that has its lifeblood still in it. And for your lifeblood I will surely demand an accounting. I will demand an accounting from every animal and from each human being too. I will demand an accounting for the life of another human being. This is basically saying, if you murder, I demand an accounting for that. It says it right here in verse 6. Whoever sheds human blood, by humans shall their blood be shed. For in the image of God, God has made mankind. God loves mankind. Us. He loves us. Because we were made in his image. And he doesn't want us to murder each other. And there's a difference between murder and kill. But murdering is you had the intent, and it's evil intent. It's bad. But God doesn't want that for us. He wants us to love each other. A godly love that's helping and good, and love your neighbor. That type of love. To be good and to go out there and lead. But as Noah did. Noah led his family, an entire ark of animals. It's crazy. As for you, be fruitful and increase in number, multiply on the earth and increase upon it. Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him, I now establish my covenant with you and with your descendants after you, and with every living creature that was with you, the birds, the livestock, and all the wild animals, all those that came out of the ark with you, every living creature on earth. I establish my covenant with you. Never again will all the life be destroyed by the waters. Excuse me, keep yawning. By the waters of a flood. Never again will there be a flood to destroy the earth. And God said, this is the sign of the covenant and I am making between me and you and every living creature with you, a covenant for all generations to come. I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. The rainbow is a beautiful sight, because that's God's covenant saying that He will not do that again. And when God makes a promise, He keeps that promise, unlike human beings. We don't always keep our promise, right? I mean, I bet all of us have broken something. Whenever I bring clouds over the earth and rainbows appear in the clouds, I will remember my covenant between me and you and all the living creatures of every kind. Never again will the waters become a flood to destroy all life. Whenever the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and all the living creatures of every kind on the earth. So God said to Noah, "This is the sign of the covenant I have established between me and all life on the earth." Hopefully you're all taking notes, or at least reading along with me. I like to think that you can use me as your reader, like this thing right here. But instead of just reading like a robot, I'm a human. And I kind of can explain it a little bit, and hopefully y'all can explain to me too things that I miss. Always down to learn more. So the sons of Noah. Here we're gonna go to the little more lineage, I guess. The sons of Noah who came out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham was the father of Canaan. These were the three sons of Noah, and from them came the people who were scattered over the whole earth. Noah, a man of the soil, proceeded to plant a vineyard. When he drank some of its wine, he became drunk and lay uncovered in his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father naked and told his two brothers outside. But Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it across their shoulders. Then they walked in backwards and covered their father's naked body. Their faces were turned the other way, so they would not see their father naked. When Noah woke from his wine and found out what his youngest son had done to him, he said, "Cursed be Canaan, the lowest of slaves will be to his brothers." He also said, "Praise be to the Lord, the God of Shem. May Canaan be the slave of Shem. May God extend Japheth's territory. May Japheth live in the tents of Shem. And may Canaan be the slave of Japheth." After the flood, Noah lived 350 years. Noah lived a total of 950 years, and then he died. This part was always kind of confusing. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to say about this part. This 9, say 3, 5. Modesty and respect, as the brothers sought to preserve their father's dignity despite his compromised state. That's what I thought it meant, but I mean it's a weird, I don't know what to think about that. I guess what's being said here is Canaan just was like, "Oh, father was naked," and told his two brothers outside, and he didn't do anything. But Shem and Japheth did something, and I guess that's what it's saying. Because Canaan just left him in his vulnerable state. That's the best I can explain it. If y'all have a better explanation, go ahead. But yeah, I always thought this part of the story was goofy. But I mean, it's in there. But yeah, I think that's going to be the end for today. Just keep it, try to keep it, not too long. Again, I kind of read through this, faster. If y'all need me to read slower, just let me know. But I think that, it was mostly just lineage and then the story of Noah. I broke it down the best I thought. A lot of those parts I think it talks about in the story itself. But, the few parts, again, that you can just kind of point out and, they're important to see. the connections, because the Bible is just full of connections. The Old Testament to the New Testament, Noah to Jesus. I mean, they're quoting each other and they're back and forth because they're together. And I can get more in depth at that in other videos if y'all want me to. But it's interesting to see that, and I like that because it doesn't. The Bible is not just the New Testament completely forgets the Old Testament. No, the New Testament makes the Old Testament. It leads to it. The Old Testament's all about Jesus just before him. It sets him up. It sets up what's needed from Jesus. And then the New Testament is Jesus, and then after Jesus. It's important connections. And that's why it's important to study even Genesis and probably some other books like Lamentations, It's a tough one. Or not Lamentations, sorry, Leviticus. I don't know why I said Lamentations. I think I was thinking Lamech and mixed it up. But anyways, Leviticus, that's a tough one. Numbers, that's Deuteronomy. I mean, these are probably the toughest books in the Bible. What would be some? Maybe Ecclesiastes. No, that one's probably not. Proverbs, that's a long one. I mean, that's just long. But, I mean, these 3 books, right in the beginning, they're the hardest books, but we'll get through those. Those are important to study. 27 chapters, yeah, I mean, it's not that too bad. Deuteronomy, 34. But it's important to know these things because they're good books. It's good to study this. It's good to learn more about this. But, yeah, we'll get back tomorrow and we'll do another study. Thank you for listening and hope you all have a blessed day as always. God is good all the time.